we are going to discuss something quite connected with technology. And have a look at this slide. You see, learning online is nothing new nowadays, right? When I just started doing these kind of sessions on this topic, it was something that lots of teachers didn't think about or considered something that they won't work with. But now, in the current situation in the world, well, learning online or using online technology in the learning process is nothing new. It's something that we are almost like required to do. And of course, you can learn lots of things online, not only in terms of like doing our school lessons online, but just in general. There are lots of resources, lots of web pages where you can study absolutely different topics. Like I'm sure you know Coursera, edEra, lots of different resources. If you know more, please share them in the chat box. I'm sure that everyone would like to try something new one day. But what I found absolutely fascinating during this like quarantine period is that basically you can learn absolutely any skill and you can just do anything online. For example, did you know that there are yoga courses online? Yoga, Pilates, any kind of physical activity on YouTube or on special web pages, you can do that online. I know that even Sport Life, our gym chain right here in Ukraine, they started their own like TV channel on their webpage where they broadcast different trainings on absolutely different types. Amazing. Another nice thing that I found this year is that there is this wonderful Polish couple, which I absolutely adore. And what they do is they do wedding dances tutorials online. So you just choose your favorite melody, your favorite song, and they can stage this wedding dance for you. Something that I would never think about being able to do online. You know, when you watch these movies, they always take these dance classes, something that is not quite popular probably here in Ukraine, but you can do it online and stage an amazing dance if this is what you want to do. So basically, learning online is just a part of our life nowadays. And today we are going to talk about one way of implementing this online learning in our everyday teaching in terms of blended learning. So again, I used to ask this question all the time, and not always would teachers know how exactly to answer this question. But I'm sure now you will have lots of ideas. So could you please share in the chat box, what do you think is blended learning? What do you understand now blended learning means? I'm sure that, well, all of us know what it is nowadays. It's just what we are required to do. It's something that the ministry is talking about all the time. This is змішане навчання, blended learning. What do we blend? What does it mean, blended learning? So from the word itself, you can understand it's a mixture of something, right? Wow, hello to Moldova. Allah, nice to see you. Again, internal education going international. I love these moments. So thanks a lot for being with us. Mixture of face-to-face and online and offline. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. It's a mixture of learning face-to-face and learning online using different resources that are online to incorporate them in the classroom. And today, very straightforwardly, we are going to talk about one of the resources you can use for blended learning, which is called My English Lab. So now I've got another question for you. Who is here now who was present on my session yesterday? Yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning, we had a session on other resources by Pearson, and I invited some of the people to come here. Yes, Pani Nadia, Pani Svetlana, nice to see you. Great. So now, one more question for you guys. Is there anyone here in this room? We've got 150 something people here. Is there anyone present who doesn't know anything about My English Lab, who has no idea what it is, how it works, why you need it, what it is like in general, what My English Lab means. Yes, we've got some people who don't know. Perfect, amazing. You just come to the right session. You will learn everything today. So basically, just an overview, because then we'll talk in more details. My English Lab is this online platform. Of course, we're talking about blended learning, learning online. It's online, which contains an interactive version of your regular paper workbook. So instead of doing your homework, well, their homework, in the paper workbook, your students would go to this web page and do all the tasks there online. Why is it great? Well, because your students and yourselves immediately see their results. You will see all the mistakes. The system will put the mark for each particular exercise, so you don't need to check homework anymore. Almost all of it. So there is just one little type of tasks you will have to check on your own, and I will show it to you today. It's very easy and very fun. So we'll come to it a little bit later. But generally speaking, no more checking homework. You don't waste time on the lesson, and you don't carry these workbooks home and back to check them. It's all graded online. Plus, there are so many different features and characteristics of My English Lab that help students staying motivated or even becoming motivated learning English at home, spending more time on their homework, just learning on their own. It's an amazing tool for this autonomous learning, taking responsibility for their learning, which is basically what adults do anyway, right? If we talk about university students, just teaching adults, well, it's not all now teacher-student. It's more than less student-student. They are learning on their own. So My English Lab will definitely help with that. Plus, because it is accessed online, they can do their homework wherever they are, absolutely any place in the world where they have access to the internet, any gadget they can use to work with My English Lab. And if we talk about learning English in terms of teaching like adults or studying at the university, all the books for adults like Roadmap and Speak Out, Cutting Edge, these business English courses, Business Partner, Market Leader, this grammar book that Gennady will be talking about next Thursday, My Grammar Lab, they all have this My English Lab option. So how does it work like technically? What do you need to get access to My English Lab? Hello, everyone. Well, if we think about your classic version of your course that you are using, usually you have your student's book and a paper workbook. So you use student's book in the classroom. In the workbook, the students do their homework, right? With My English Lab, this is this blended version of your course. You have a little bit different version of your student's book because have a look. There is this little plate that says with My English Lab inside. So when they open the book, on the cover inside, there is this scratch code that they use to access My English Lab online. So basically, you continue using your regular student's book in the classroom, but at home, your students work in My English Lab, which is the implementation of blended learning. Why is it especially great for teachers? Because you continue working just as you're used to in the classroom. You don't need the internet in the classroom. You don't need a computer, a whiteboard, or a smart board, God forbid. You can just work as you're used to working. You maybe just need your mobile phone to give them homework after your lesson. And that's it. You just work as you're used to. And they will work online at home. So on My English Lab, they will find absolutely every activity from their regular paper workbook. It could be different vocabulary exercises, different grammar tasks like open the brackets, paraphrase sentences, something like that. Reading, again, all of the texts will be present there. Listening, once again, have a look. With listening, they don't need to download listening tracks from somewhere, or they don't need to use the CDs, because listening track is built in the exercise. So they just click on play, they listen, and do the task. If they think that, well, I don't quite understand what these people are saying, or I don't know what to put in this particular question, they can click on this small button which opens a script, and they can have a look at the script, analyze it, and then do the activity, which is great for students who need more confidence in what they're doing. So it will help them stay confident. Then, even writing, again, creating sentences, answering questions, paraphrasing, it is all done here in my English lab, and all of these activities that I have just shown you are checked and assessed by the program. So everything before mentioned, you do not need to check. It will be checked automatically. The only thing you may need to check is open writing. Okay, so open writing like essays, emails, blogs, I don't know, reviews, postcards, everything that doesn't have one particular correct answer, because this is a program, it's programmed, it's a code basically. So of course you cannot program all the possible essays into this program, right, into this platform. So this is the one thing that you will have to check, but it will be in a very nice and fun way. Let's have a look. Here is an abstract from one of my students' essays. It's about technology. Please have a look at these sentences, and if you spot any mistakes, could you please put them in the chat box? There are lots of mistakes in these sentences. You will find them very quickly. So as soon as you see something, put it in the chat box. Let's see how many different mistakes we can count in a minute. Changing. Okay, wrong spelling. Great. Can provide z, absolutely no s. Has changed. Yes, actually, either you change the tense or it's word order. Then, two, wrong word usage. Thank you, absolutely. Anything else? Are replaced? Yes, active, passive, right? Absolutely, thanks a lot. Anything else? Just scan it. What is else in there? Cheaper. Punctuation, Natalia, thanks a lot. Yes, punctuation is sometimes overlooked, but I love paying attention to punctuation. So thanks for mentioning it. Yes, cheaper. All right, so lots of mistakes in there. So what I did is I categorized those mistakes. So you can see these orange ones are grammar mistakes. Then I have some vocabulary mistakes or lexical mistakes in pink. This may be wrong word, spelling. I just don't like this, like sharing language. You can speak the language, you don't share it. It's not a cake, it's not a car, right? So don't quite like it. And Natalia, punctuation. For example, in addition, no commas. Commas are just missing in this work. Well, this is exactly what you do in my English lab. So you receive this essay, and you read through it, and then you can see there are these different colorful highlighters. Red for punctuation, pink for vocab, orange for grammar, also coherence, style, register. The higher the level of the book, the more different highlighters you get. So, what do? You look through the text, you find those mistakes, highlight them, and now it is up to you. Maybe with some students you would like to put the correct answer in the comment, or just leave it like this. Just multicolor it with all these nice highlighters, put the mark, and send it to students. What the students see? They will see their work, they will see where the mistake is, they will see what type of mistake that is, because they also see all these highlighters, and they can think and analyze, like what is the mistake here? Why is it wrong? What should I write here instead? And if you give them such an opportunity, and we'll come to it in just a couple of minutes, they can actually try to correct those mistakes to get a better result and to find this correct answer finally. So this is how this teacher grading is done in my English lab. Only this, all the rest is checked by the program. So now let's come to more again technical terms of how using my English lab works every day. So let's imagine you just had your lesson. The lesson is over, you have a break, you have a couple of free minutes, you want to give students homework. So what do? Maybe from your phone, maybe from your laptop if you have it. You go to my English lab and you actually assign them homework. So you see all of these units, right, from my course book here. I will choose the exercises on the right, so just tick what I want to give to my students. And then you see this green button that's called Assign is now active. I can now click on it, and it's just 3 more steps before your students can do the homework. First, choose students. Well, you can see there is this select all button. So obviously click select all, click next, you're done. Or you can just choose some particular students. Why? Why may you want to give homework not to the whole group, but to different individual students? Do you have any ideas? Could you please put them in the chat box? Why do we sometimes give some exercises to some of the group students, not to all of them? Yes, absolutely, Oksana. Thanks a lot. Differentiation, to differentiate by level, by difficulty, individual approach. Thanks, Natalia. I really love this phrase. And you know what? Students also love this phrase. And speaking about younger students, their parents love this phrase as well. When you say it is an individual approach to each of the students, you can choose the easiest activities to give like to everyone, but the harder one, the more difficult ones, you just give to students with slightly higher level. You can also give more tasks to those who need more practice. So you can differentiate in, well, any way possible as you may want to do it in the classroom. Also, yes, they will not know who got which exercises. So they will only see their own tasks, and it is something that it is quite difficult to do in the classroom, right? You cannot tell the person face to face that you don't do exercise 5. You can't do it. It's too difficult for you. It's something that we as teachers cannot do, cannot imagine doing. So it is quite difficult to fit in this differentiation in the regular classroom. But here, nobody will know. So it's my own homework. I do it as I can and I get my result. And it's this individual progress that it is assessed, this formative assessment, everything that is now common in the modern methodology. So this is how it works here. All right, done with students. Step 2. What is step 2? Step 2 is the deadline, or they call it due date. When is this assignment due? So you can see my assignment here is due the 9th of April. It's a very old assignment, actually. But what is the idea? You set the due date usually as the evening before your next lesson. So I really enjoyed this function when I was working with my English lab with my own students, because I cannot just tell you how many times I saw them doing their homework before my lesson. somewhere on the staircase, you know, on the windowsill, hopefully doing it on their own. Sometimes cheating, sometimes just rewriting it from somebody else's workbook. Some of the students were brave enough to do their homework before the lesson in my classroom, just sitting in front of me. They just, well, I didn't have time, I will do it now. And they start doing it. And you're like, okay, so that's not what I want. I want them to work on their homework at home. That's the idea of homework. So you set the deadline, and if they don't manage to meet this deadline, well, sorry, the task is not submitted. That's a bad mark. That's a 0 in my English lab. Great for developing their responsibility, also maybe time management skills as well. So I really, really like this particular feature of my English lab. I can see some answers, some questions in the chat box. I will answer all of them at the end of the session, all right? So not to interrupt the flow. So I see them, I will answer them, don't worry. So you set the deadline, and the last third step is all these different settings. You can see there are lots of things here. So let's go through them just one by one. First, and the most important feature, is the number of activity attempts you give to your students. Remember, I said if you give them the opportunity, they can do it again. So this is basically the main idea of my English lab, helping students doing homework more, trying more, and spending more time on English at home to get better results. So they will try once, they will see the mistakes, and then they can try the second time to correct those mistakes. Plus, they will see lots of interesting things, among which is hints, tips, and feedback. So these are 3 features of my English lab. You see, you can turn them off if you want to run it as a test. Or if they are on, this is something that will help students do better, do the activity better, and just get a better result. I will show you how these work when we come to the student part of using my English lab. Then there are different settings on how the program grades your the results of the students, right? So you can grade capital letters and punctuation, Natalia. Very important here. You can set grade and punctuation in every exercise on, and that's it. Or you can choose default, as it is in my case here. It means that the task itself, basically, the program will decide if it is necessary to assess punctuation or capital letters in this particular activity or not. If it is not aimed at writing full sentences, then maybe it's not that important. Or if you want to, just set it at on for all the time, and well, that's it. That's how it's going to put the marks. The last thing here that I really, really like, and everyone preparing students for any kind of exams, especially international exams, would also love, is the timer. So you can set the timer to their homework, to their activities. Obviously, time management will be developed here. If you are getting ready to an exam, you can set the exact same time limit as in the exam so that they learn to stick to this time limit. Or if you are doing a test from your course book on My English Lab online, you can also set the timer just like in the classroom so that they stick again to this time limit. So these are all the settings. After you choose everything you want to, you just click on Assign, and your homework magically flew to your students. And they will see it and do it in My English Lab on their Assignments tab. So again, very easy to remember. Home assignment is in the Assignments tab. So very straightforward here. So they see all the activities, they click open, and they start doing the tasks. Let's see how it works for the student. Here is a task. It's a grammar activity. Verb tenses, different tenses are mixed here. My task is to open the brackets. First of all, please pay attention to this light bulb in the top right corner. Can you guess what students can find if they click on this light bulb? Do you have any guesses? Do you have any ideas? If I click on this light bulb right now, what will I see? What is hiding there? Some hints. Yes, what kind of hints? Can you guess? Tips, some options, some variants could be. Yes, Alexandra, absolutely. Yuri, yeah, well, you know that all right. You've been to many of my sessions. I do know that. So yes, absolutely. The rules. So once again, think about your students. How often do they open their student's book, their course book, to look at the rules before they do homework? Probably not that often. But here, just click on this light bulb. Here are the rules. Have a look at them, revise everything, then do the task. So let's imagine I filled in the gaps. Here are my answers. So I click on submit. And here is my result. 10 out of 16, 63%. Well, some of your students may be satisfied with this result, but hopefully most of them won't be. They will want to get a better mark and to get almost all or all the answers correctly. So for that, we gave them 2 attempts, remember? And now let's have a closer look at their answers. You can see that some of them, which are correct, are in green with a tick. The wrong answers are in red and they have a cross. But every single answer also has this little like call out or speech bubble near it. And here hide all the hints and feedback that we saw in the settings part of giving homework. Remember, right here, we had this feedback, hints, and tips, right? So this is where they are, absolutely. When they click on the wrong answers, Natalia, you are right, they will see some recommendations, some hints on what to think about to answer this question correctly. For example, here, I wrote find it. Obviously, it's wrong. So it tells me find has irregular past forms. So now I need to think, what does it mean irregular? Remember irregular verbs, maybe remembering found. If not, maybe Googling, find irregular past forms. I don't know, well, it could be, it can happen, right? And absolutely fine with me personally. I feel quite all right with students Googling some answers. They Google it several times, then they will remember it finally. So as long as they are learning on their own at home, the world is open for them. Let them Google. So these are the hints for wrong answers. But what would come for the right answers? What would they need there? They already answered the question correctly. Well, they will see some positive feedback. Like here, it says, well done. We use past simple for finished actions with time reference. For me, this function is really, really valuable for my students. Why? Especially with grammar. Because I don't know about you and your students. If you agree with me, you can put a plus in the chat box. But for many of my students, grammar sometimes seems like this, Everest that they will never climb and they will never learn all these rules and never understand and be able to use it correctly. Because there's really lots of things to learn and to understand, not just learn by heart. You need to understand how it works. And in the classroom, when we are checking homework, if you are running through these sentences, like, Anna, number 1, okay, thanks, Sveta, number 2, and so on, until you find the mistake, and then you focus on the mistake because you want them to know the correct answer. But we don't always have time. It's just simple as that. We don't always have time on the lesson to praise them for their correct answers, to encourage them, to say, yes, well done, absolutely. In this case, you used the right structure. Finally, maybe sometimes finally, you understand this, you remembered it, well done. So this is absolutely valuable to keep students motivated in learning English, because they will see their own progress. They will see that now they know this material. They can show it to their parents, I don't know, their friends, their tutor, whoever they find, authoritative for them. Just, look, I can do this now. This whole idea of self-progress, again, this formative assessment, just tracking your own progress, this will help. This is absolutely important. And then you just go to your gradebook to see the results. Remember, it's all assessed by the program, except for writing. So we go to this tab that's called Gradebook, and basically that's what it is. It's a book of grades. This is where all the marks are stored. You can see here, this is my group, my students that I worked with using my English lab. They were teens, like the fifth formers, pretty young. You can see some of their marks on the screen right now. And on the left, there are these units. So when I dive into these units, if I open unit 7, 7.2, exercise 3, you can see immediately on the right that the results have changed. So now I just see their marks for this particular exercise. And you can sort them. You can have a look at their first attempt, how they did it the first time, then their last attempt. Did they progress? Did they even try doing it the second time? Because honestly, some of your students, some of my students used to do it. Like you can see here, there are a couple of zeros. In this particular exercise, they did it once, no correct answers, everything done wrong, and they just went with it. They didn't even try doing it better. They spent like 2 minutes on this task. But if you have a look at the second person that has 100%, the green result here, well, actually, I can see that she spent like 45 minutes doing this exercise twice. First time, she got around like 70%. Second time, she got 100. So I can see that this particular student is motivated to get a better result, to work better. She tried to learn this material, to cope with it, and to do this homework as well as she can. And she did it. She got her 100%. Yeah, definitely. We need more students like Sophia's. 100% agree with you, Alexandra. Absolutely. Another and the last thing that I want to show you within my English lab today hides under this little blue button, diagnostics. So I keep talking about formative assessment, tracking students' progress, and it's very easy with my English lab because it provides you with all the data and statistics that you may need to use in your learning process. For example, here is one of these kinds of statistics. So there are different graphs. This is one of them. It's called skill per student. So this is one of my students, and you can see his results, his progress so far in all the different skills. Writing, he didn't do any. Vocab, spoken interaction, speaking, reading, listening, grammar. This is what you can see here. It's printable. You can save it in PDF and give it to students so that they see how well they are doing now. What is absolutely great with my English lab in terms of working with any kind of students of any age, their parents, whoever it can, be related to, these results are objective. It's not you putting them this or that kind of grade because maybe you don't like them. That's what sometimes they can think. They or their parents, again, can think that, well, you are biased with their children. Well, here the results are objective because the platform, My English Lab, doesn't care who this person doing this task is. For My English Lab, this answer is either right or wrong. And that's it. If they don't know it, if they can't do it, well, here are their results. And actually, Victoria said it's similar to Moodle. So this whole gradebook, all their results can be exported to Moodle. You can see there is a little button below the results on the right that says Moodle. So you can connect My English Lab with Moodle and export these results there. So if you are using it in the university, you can connect My English Lab with Moodle. So that are the basics of how My English Lab works for you every day. Assign homework, students do homework, you check the results. That's it. So for you as a teacher, My English Lab will mean, first of all, less marking, only essays, and with some courses, there are speaking tasks as well. That's it. All the rest marked by the program. More control on how your students do their homework and more functions to help them work on their homework. I've just shown you, this bit of My English Lab. There is much more than that. So you can investigate it and go deeper and deeper as long as you continue working with it. Lots of flexibility in using My English Lab, because what My English Lab is also great for is flipped classroom. Well, kind of like flipped classroom. For example, you have your students of like B2, C1 level, and the topic in your course book is present simple, present continuous. How many times have they studied this tense? A lot. So maybe they don't want to do it once again. They're like, oh, we've done that, we know that, let's do something else. So here, with My English Lab, you can give them some of the activities on this topic before you have a lesson. You will see the results, you will see which exact mistakes they made. And when you come to this lesson of present simple, present continuous, you will already know what to focus on. Do you need to teach them third person singular? Do you need to teach them ing? Or do they really know all these structures and you just can communicate more, practice it more, use it more in speaking, which is the idea of learning face-to-face with a teacher and other students, communication. That's what we want in the classroom. And for your students, it's modern, it's up-to-date, it's just what is absolutely on time right now, and it helps them with motivating them to learn more and learn better.